And if Magnus draws, he'll have to be dependent on tie breaks, which is always risky. So, Jon Christian, what do you think Magnus is going for in this game?
Maybe we'll play the... it's Lazavik plays Sicilian, right? So
and E5.
And E5.
Mostly
okay,
E5.
yeah, okay, E5. I was about to suggest the Alepin, but...
Oh, he's going to go for the 4 knights. He normally plays this if he wants to play with the safety break on.
Yeah.
This is known to be a very equalish type of middle game that we're about to see, but one where white runs minimal risks. He has used this, though, to defeat the likes of Hans Niemann Magnus. And especially because Lazavik might feel he needs to press for a win.
Yeah.
If black is too ambitious, it could backfire. Magnus likes to play the move bishop out to g5. In this position, first bishop f4.
It strikes me how strong these players are. It's like playing, even though they only have 5 minutes for the entire game. It's the quality of the games are higher than my classical games. It's like it's amazing to watch. I believe. I think it's really it's really impressive. The last game as well. Yeah, well, that was really something.
Yeah, that's one of the highest quality blitz games I've seen in ages from both sides.
Yep.
Like Magnus wasn't playing great at the start of the day, but then he's leveled up, and Nihal fought so well, so hard. Some cool tactics as well in the previous game. But okay, here we are. Magnus on the brink of winning the tournament. He knows his fate is in his own hands, and he's doing the right thing. Just keep it simple, keep it safe. All the pieces centralized. Not too much risk here for white.
Then it's scary to play against a younger, hungry player like Lazavik, who knows that he really needs to win to be able to get a victory in the entire tournament. So he's playing as a really motivated, young, very fast player. And the two of them will be facing off later in a couple of weeks in the Speed Chess Championships, semifinals and perhaps finals. So that's going to be interesting. And they've played against each other a lot in online chess.
Yeah, and especially in the autumn split of Title Tuesday, so a few months ago, Denis Lazavik had a good score against Magnus, defeated him in some big games. But this isn't the type of position where you're too hopeful against Magnus. It's an endgame, very strategic. He's trying to give Denis an isolated pawn here in the center.
Is Magnus guaranteed, though, to win the tournament if he draws this game?
No, I think it depends on his... No, if he wins, he's the only one with 10.
If he wins, yeah.
But if he draws, then he could be caught up, and then it will be the tie breaks that determine it. And players that you've played in the first round, they do have a tendency to leave the tournament as it progresses because they're not doing so well. And at some point, you get tired of losing a lot of games in a row. So at the end of the Title Tuesday tournaments, we might have started with 300 players, and we might be down to like 200 something. And then it becomes a kind of a question of a bit of luck. And I'm not sure Magnus wants to be dependent on the tiebreaks, but it seems also like he's pretty happy with a very equal endgame here.
Is Magnus aware of the tiebreak situation, do you think, or is he just...
You can see it when you play these tournaments on the chess.com browser, like the live tiebreaks.
Yeah.
So, or at least before this round, he'll have seen that Denis Lazavik, from the score group below Magnus, half a point behind, has the best tiebreak. So by drawing this game, he would rule Denis out, of course. He'd be half a point ahead. And if Denis's tiebreak's higher than everyone else, then good chances. We'll keep an eye, though, on Alexei Serrano, who's the only other player who could catch up Magnus if this game is a draw. So far, it looks very, very balanced. Black with an isolated pawn, but very active pieces.
Magnus seems to have a small edge, though. Like the d-pawn is isolated, semi-weak. Now maybe bishop f5. Trying to get a square for his knight, perhaps?
Oh, I like that one. Yeah, and if the white knight ever gets to f5 without being traded off, h6 is always a backward pawn.
Yeah.
Bishop f5 is nice.
It strikes me that the Magnus is able... He has the ability to just play equal position or equal openings, but still, even though the position is very, very equal, he manages to still put on some pressure and, very often win. I remember vividly the game that you mentioned against Hans Niemann, where he had very... the position was so equal, but still, because the game just continues, and suddenly, he gets something, and then he gets something more, and then suddenly he just wins out of the blue because he has understood something.
I asked him after that game, like, oh, were you playing for a draw? And then he didn't really want to say that he was, because he was just like, no, I was just trying to keep the game alive for a very long time. And I guess against the difficulty here against Denis Lazavik is that he's so fast. So if Magnus prolongs this game, he might find himself in time trouble, because Denis has been leading by at least half a minute for the majority of the game so far.
Yeah, that's the one thing that has given Denis a boost in his head-to-head against Magnus in the past is the clock. I've seen many time scrambles between these two, and Denis is a bit faster, maybe a bit more confident.
Now I like Denis's position. Rook h3, perhaps, trying to create some threats.
It feels like he's lost control, Magnus.
The king d6, bit passive, no?
Doesn't change the evaluation, really. It's all level, but yeah, could have been creating some threats there, Denis. And maybe now he'll go with his rook. Different direction, though. He gives a check. But this is less effective. Now the black king doesn't put pressure on the white knight. I think he's just saying to Magnus, you can't improve. Maybe he'll play around a bit. Magnus would love a repetition right now, and Denis is allowing it.
Oh.
Will Magnus go for a repetition now? If he puts his king back on e3, that should be the third time. Magnus is counting. Oh, he plays on.
Wow.
Magnus didn't want the draw.
But he's not saying much, Magnus. He's very concentrated.
Yeah.
Very focused. Just an update that Alexei Serrana is in an equal position on board 2 against Wesley So. He's the only other player who can reach the magical 9.5 number that Magnus will get to with a draw. So maybe Magnus took a look at the other game. He was like, nah, too equal. Don't want to risk it.
It's a bit risky, though. I mean, Magnus is down.
Time-wise, I'm still doing quite all right.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that yet.
As if he was hearing
Okay,
us.
Magnus, okay.
Too quick, too strong. 1.5 minutes he thinks is enough. He is getting active with his rook.
And the time is evening out a bit. Just 20 more seconds for Lazavik now.
Ooh, the knight blocks. Very important for Denis Lazavik. He's trying to remove white's best piece of the knight so that he can get some of the white pawns. But, okay, this is getting a bit tactical.
Tricky.
Tactics in the air. King goes back. Magnus going pawn hunting. Ultimately, this rook endgame should be a draw. Magnus might emerge with an extra pawn, but...
Will he, though?
Oh, yeah, maybe not.
It's so hard to calculate these things in a good way. There's always another pawn hanging somehow.
This is reminiscent of Magnus last week when he managed to lose an equal rook endgame.
And, Magnus, he's playing this close to the edge. He cannot win any longer. Denis Lazavik has the extra pawn and has the easy plan of pushing forward. It's not great that he's playing against an f-pawn, which is actually quite a good one to have, especially if the white g-pawn's ever lost.
Oh, this is not good at all.
This is not good for Magnus. He should have bailed out with that threefold repetition. He lost control and is panicking on the clock.
Denis is winning this, I believe.
I think this is great winning chances. It's still a theoretical draw if Magnus puts
his king
king back on
g2,
e2.
king h2. Maybe this is simple.
If Denis Lazavik locks in his rook, it is simple now with the king going back, not allowing any checks. The white rook will protect its pawn if need be. If the black king ever comes over to the other side of the board, there will be some checks from behind. Oh, Magnus is not enjoying this, though. Pure suffering.
Yeah, you can see it in his face.
Oof.
Very concentrated. Not talking a lot.
Yeah, you can repeat the position. He just has to make sure he doesn't lose the g-pawn. That would be a lost endgame if the g-pawn disappears. Now he's getting ready to check the black king from behind, which has no safe squares, cannot hide amongst its pawn, its rooks. Magnus goes back, keeping the black rook under lock and key. This is really instructive. It is a drawn endgame. Magnus just has enough waiting moves with his king.
Denis can play on time, though.
Yeah, but it's evened out, actually. Magnus has been doing a good job of playing quick moves. Oh, and Denis actually sacrificed his pawn there, but got a hold of Magnus's one. There's just one pawn left on the board.
This is the famous Filidor position. For anyone who wants to learn about rook endgames, this is vital. Cutting across the board. If the black pawn ever moves, the white rook goes behind with some checks. This is a dead draw, but is Magnus quick enough to hold on? Can Denis Lazavik win on time? Neither of them are thinking about the draw. This is... Oh, Magnus can now take the rooks. He should have enough time with 20 seconds left to hold this. quite easy. As long as you put your king on the right square there. There we go. The rook trade's going to save him. We're going to see a draw, and Magnus gets to 9.5. That means only Alexei Sarana can catch him.